Sub-Saharan Africa, Africa Confidential is leading with an article, Wave of Protests Rattle Kaguta Museveni. The Bobi Wine protests are growing into demonstrations against autocracy and impunity as the veteran president's grip falters. Ever since President Museveni's personal guards beat up and almost killed the popular musician turned politician Bobi Wine on 14th August, the normally effective mixture of security force brutality and mass detentions has failed to quell growing protest. Bobi Wine's diffuse people power movement might have eventually faded away had it not been for Museveni's personal order, so Kampala sources report, to have him disciplined after he went to the northwestern border town of Arua to hold an election meeting on the 13th of August. Listen to this. A source in the Domestic Intelligence Service, the internal security organization, told Africa Confidential that at least 6 people died as soldiers were spurred on by an angry Museveni who was following the unfolding events on the SFC's tactical communications network. A friend of mine says that he doubts that there's such a thing. But it's interesting that he was overseeing it. Museveni compounded his inept handling of the unrest in a rambling 3.5-hour speech. On the evening of 10th September, he repeated his familiar tune that the young should be grateful for the economic gains of the NRM after over 3 decades in power. He angered many listeners by saying his own children were busy with their wealth and not looking for jobs because as a parent he had provided for them. The reactions on social media were universally hostile. Then talking about the killings that we've seen, the widespread belief that the killings are carried out by rogue elements in the security services loyal to former police chief General Kale Kaihura. The general was Uganda's longest-serving police chief and Museveni's chief enforcer during 12 years of repression, which critics say included murder and extortion. He is said to be close to President Kagame. In a meeting with NRM MPs after the Bobi Wine controversy started, after which Speaker of the House Rebecca Kadaga wrote to him asking him to explain the torture allegations, he reportedly said, this is Museveni, he could even abolish Parliament if he wanted to. Some of his close advisors say that the violence by the security forces is the only option the president feels he has left to bring dissatisfied and unemployed youth angry at 32 years of his rule and rooting corruption back under control. And here, I quoted Harold Macmillan's famous speech in Cape Town, "The wind of change is blowing through this continent whether we like it or not. This growth of national consciousness is a political fact." And I concluded by saying, I refer you to Uganda. Bobi and Bobi Wine are now in the US, but what caught my attention was this video of revelers and a regime apologist, Bebe Cool UG, being, kicked off the stage, and events with Bobi Wine. And I said, inflection points are difficult to discern, but this is one right here, in my view, in Uganda.